sure what I'm doing, but I'm ready.
It's all right.
That's all right.
Okay, welcome. My name is Monty Henry, owner of DPL Surveillance Equipment, and we're a full-service surveillance and security equipment company, and you
Hi,
are?
this is Carolyn, co-owner of DPL Surveillance, and we're open 24/7, 365, and we have lifetime guarantee and warranty on all our products.
And what we typically do, you guys, on Facebook, etc., we do meetups in Ventura, and we try to bring about, hopefully, topics that are of concern and interest to the people locally and online as well. This particular session, we've covered previous sessions had to do with, what was it, anti-terrorist prevention and
Active shooters at schools, etc.
And in addition to other topics. This particular one, by the way, we record the sessions, and the playback is available for those of you who missed the other sessions. We typically make a YouTube video playlist so that go over various techniques and various products that have more. The residents want to know more about video surveillance to take advantage, see how they can improve the safety and such of what's going on there. Thank you very much. We get a little bit of noise going from outside. But sometimes in our local neighborhoods, for instance, we have vandalism, as one gentleman pointed out, and the kids are doing certain things that they shouldn't be doing in their particular neighborhoods, and we want to make sure that the kids are safe and we don't end up with someone getting hurt or harmed as a result of what the children are doing.
Hi. And yeah, there are a lot of subjects that are of interest to us today, and we're going to answer questions, and we'll see if we can help anybody out with other questions.
Okay, now one popular topic, I think, Carolyn, has to do with name some popular topics that you think people are typically asking Mr. and Mrs. SpyGadget when they call us.
Counter surveillance if they've been bugged. Who does it and why, and how they can prevent that. Hidden cameras. People put hidden cameras in people's homes, how you can detect them with counter surveillance.
Now, typically when people call us, a lot of them are fixated on the idea of smartphones being compromised. What can you tell us a little bit about the nature of some of those calls in terms of what the consumers are typically talking about as far as smartphones are concerned?
They're afraid that they're being listened in on. And some of them could be and some of them couldn't be. It could be government agencies, it could be private individuals, and there are certain things you look out for. People could be giving you like a phone for Christmas. It could be a spy phone. So then the hardware and software is already on there, and they can call in and listen to what you're saying. So
now, is this a lot of times we hear people speculate a great deal in terms of what's possible and what's not possible. As far as you know, what are some of the things that are definitely real concerns in terms of what can I actually do to a smartphone, to someone's phone, that a person should be concerned about?
They can put the spyware on the phone and listen in.
Okay, now when you say they can listen in, let's say I give you a scenario. Let's say I give you a smartphone for Christmas or for your birthday or something like that.
Right.
Now you're saying that I can call in to that phone, like this one here. I can call in and listen to what's going on in your conversation?
Yes, it could be live, or you could put it behind someone's couch, etc., and it's like a listening device.
Okay, you mean like this one here? We can actually plant something like this here. You guys on Facebook, whatever, and you guys present locally. This is what we call a GSM bug here. And this is pretty small. And
Yes.
people can place this. This basically operates like a cell phone, right?
Yeah, that you can put it in your car, boat, in your house, and you can call into it. And it opens up a microphone. You can listen to what the people are talking about within a 15 feet diameter.
How do you get it?
How do you get this?
You buy it
How
from
do
us.
you get that in their
Oh,
car?
well, the
house?
person buys it from us or rents it, and they put it in without the person knowing. You take their car, say, I need your car, I'm going to take it to go put gas. And they put it in your car or your home, underneath the table.
In there, the people that I want to hear what
Yes.
they're saying.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, typically people, it's a good question. Typically people, someone you know, someone you trust, for instance, makes a visit to your home for whatever reason. And, like you typically do, you go to the restroom, you go to the kitchen, you leave the particular area for some reason to do something. And that's all the individual really needs, just a few seconds. And this, again, this is immediately placed underneath the table, chair, bed, desk, somewhere.
That's one of our smaller units.
Right. Did you bring the other unit? The one
The
that...
module, yes, I did.
Okay. Yeah, we have smaller units, but basically, what we're trying to point out to you guys is the cell phone technology is very, very detrimental to our privacy, and we just want to make sure that the public understands that a lot of nefarious individuals are using the cell phones, using this type of technology to take advantage of compromising our privacy, whether it's in a personal setting and whether or not it's in a corporate or government environment. Industrial espionage is like a multi-billion-dollar industry, right?
Yeah.
I just recently read something too, where the thumbprint thing, you don't have to use so many passwords, but then they can capture that.
Yeah. They
Oh,
can
sure.
capture anything.
Yeah.
They're figuring it out.
Right, biometrics, that's a very good point. Biometrics is a very big deal because as we learned with the Office of Personnel Management breach, which was a federal agency, and I think a couple of 100 million people, their identity was compromised. Records were stolen, and part of that collection of records had to do with biometrics on a lot of their federal employees, and a lot of them had security clearances and such, and they had fingerprints on file. They had various other biometrics that were stolen, and as you pointed out, once I steal your fingerprint, and if I can duplicate that, and it's possible, then I can use that biometric to get access to things that use a thumbprint or fingerprint. And a lot of the access control systems that we have already in place in our places of employment, et cetera, even ATM machines or something, theoretically, there's no reason why I can't take that same biometric, put it on the fingerprint scanner, put it on the handprint scanner, whatever it is, and get access to whatever. If it's an ATM, if it's your house, or whatever it is.
Or some of the new phones are starting to use your thumbprint too.
Yeah. How about the iris, though? The
Oh,
iPhone?
yeah.
Can you do that
Yeah.
too?
Well, right now, that's a little bit more
That's
difficult.
a little tricky.
Yeah, but
Someone's
trust me,
eyeball.
every day someone is learning. Like the FBI just realized that if they extracted the fingerprint from I think it was the guy in San Bernardino, one of those cases, they literally took the fingerprint, I think, from the corpse, and they made a 3D model of it, and they used it to get access to, I think it was a phone. Now you do your research, yeah, but yeah, that's the idea. Take a fingerprint, duplicate it with 3D or something like that, and use it.
Well, my husband and I were ripped off for almost $30,000.
Oh, really?
And this was probably about 7 years ago, and they froze our accounts. I mean, it was absolutely horrible. And now, well, they caught them, but I was getting those calls from Iran. If you don't pay your taxes This is the FBI, and if you don't pay
Oh,
your
sure,
taxes
sure.
between-
Right.
Yeah, very nasty. Between 2003 and 2011, you're going to jail. And
Wow.
I saved them. And the first one I got, I cried and I called my husband because he does our taxes. I said, what happened?
Yeah.
And then he calls me back about 30 minutes later. Honey, it's a scam. There's been quite a few people at work. And then they finally caught these guys a couple
You're
of
lucky
weeks ago.
they caught him.
Well,
No kidding.
I found it in here.
My sister got caught up in that. She paid $500 because they didn't.
There's a pen or a pencil or something.
So they
Oh, I have one.
Where?
He says, you got to know, the IRS is not going to call you. They're going to come to your house and arrest you if there's a problem. They're not going to just call you. And so, and I would get them almost daily.
I don't have my
And if I
pen
didn't
anymore.
answer, they would leave a message. And you can only call back one time. After that, the number you have reached has been disconnected, and I said pretty nasty things, because I knew where they were coming from, and I said, don't ever call me again.
you get $30,000 back?
My husband did.
Good.
It was absolutely, we have house payments and kids. It was horrible. Somebody got into our, like he said, maybe through fingerprint, he works at Raytheon, and, there's all kinds of badges and ID.
Okay, you can talk about
to
something.
get into certain buildings, because, they make.
Talk about something.
It's almost like a
okay.
more security code.
All right.
Right, that's
They want to get you.
yeah, exactly. That particular scam, it looks like for the most part was centered around India, and with the help, yeah, thanks. With the help of the police, law enforcement officials in India, working with supposedly law enforcement people in the United States, they were able to apprehend those individuals, and I understand that they were making maybe, was it $1 million a month or some ridiculous number? Right.
From people like my next door neighbor who's, 89 years old.
Oh, sure.
living by
Seniors,
herself.
Right.
that they
She would
scare.
get that, yeah.
Well, when you figure if you can get $100,000 from any one individual, and then you multiply that over all of the other individuals, now you average, who knows, 10,000 or 20,000 people or something, and they're literally doing a call center operation. So yeah, the more people you reach, the more likely you're going to talk someone into giving you $15,000 or something, right? So yeah, that's a very important point, and we do need to understand that we got to be on guard.
They're scare tactics. That's
Oh,
what
yes,
they are.
and they scared me.
Right.
They really scared me.
Well,
Right.
there's another topic I think we should go over. It's called electronic harassment.
Now that's a weird topic. What does that
Oh,
mean?
my goodness.
Electronic harassment.
Okay.
Wait. Does anybody, when we say electronic harassment, does anything come to mind as far as what that could possibly mean to anyone?
Yeah.
Has anyone ever heard of that term before?
No.
No.
How about a TI? You've never heard of it? Okay, a TI is a targeted individual, and that has to do with electronic harassment. We get lots of calls. Unfortunate, very unfortunate. They call and say, well, how can we help them? They're being electronically harassed. They're feeling pins and needles. They're having pains. They're seeing lasers coming through their window. They're being followed. All their business transactions fall through. The people they trust, whatever they talk about in their home, everybody seems to know about.
Now, for instance, a typical call goes something like this. They call us. I'm so-and-so. I'm experiencing significant pain and or discomfort. Every time I get online, I go to a site, I see certain information there.
I can't sleep.
5 minutes later, I go back to the same site to look for this information, and it's disappeared. My personal records and the effects in my home or office are disappearing.
Things when you go back inside your house have moved or disappeared.
In your house?
In your house.
How do they do this?
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
It's just like, I think, just like your husband was saying, how did he, well, someone brought up something about, I can't remember exactly how the conversation went, but as I try to remember it, people typically get access to homes and offices and automobiles, one way or the other. And the targets, unfortunately, they get things taken from them. They get things moved around. Personal possessions, again, possessions and effects get taken or changed or modified or something like this.
Yeah, not only that, but they're hearing things that they normally haven't heard before. Physical effects. It's called electronic harassment.
And targeted individuals.
You'd be a TI. It's called targeted individual.
Why is it making harassed like that? What's the point of it for the guy who's doing it?
Could be the government. It could be a regular individual.
Yeah.
Is it somebody you trust that you're letting them in your home, or is it the salesman? I've got this spray, and you don't need anything else. This spray will do everything.
It could be
and
anything.
then they start spraying my floor, you know, in the tile, and with a little toothbrush, and I'm not interested. Well,
right.
we sold it to the next door neighbor for her little waterfall.
Right.
Great, and I'll borrow hers.
It could be anybody. Yeah.
Wow.
Well, to lend a little bit of credibility to this topic, believe it or not, there's a government agency called DARPA, Defense Advanced Research Projects, okay? Now, if you go to DARPA's website, you're going to see these various research projects where the government is experimenting with certain type of technologies. I think we've all heard the term energy weapons, right?
Yeah, that's kind of what Raytheon does.
Exactly. Now, it means different things to different people, and there is no one energy weapon. There's energy weapons related technologies. Some of them have to do with broadcasting audio, like a big giant loudspeaker, where you just broadcast some very loud, disturbing noises that are meant to cause people to become disoriented or something, right? Riot dispersal type of technology. And then there's energy weapons that are more directed. I want to send an audio beam or a laser beam directly at something or someone or something like that. So energy weapons, unfortunately, is one particular idea that a lot of targeted individuals and people who are being electronically harassed, a lot of them, they latch onto the energy weapons related research and you know, the information on the internet, and they take that and they try to figure out whether or not there's some sort of way that this technology is being used against them specifically. So we do know that there is a great possibility, because we've heard, you know, for better or for worse, that sometimes our government does do research in certain areas, even on the civilian populations. If you look thoroughly enough, you can see that there are some situations where there is nuclear detonations going on in Nevada desert, where there is some sort of chemical that the veterans in the armies were exposed to, supposedly accidentally or something. So yeah, that doesn't hurt. That doesn't help.
We're not supposed to trust our government.
I can't tell you, but but there are certain projects that these individuals latch on to. You want to add anything to that, Carolyn?
Yeah, there's another case, Kathleen Watterson, right? Watterson.
Right, I think so. Yeah.
She sued the cable company Arrow, A-R-O. This was up in Joshua Tree. They were pointing one of their satellites.
She was a guinea pig. There was a
Yes,
cable
yes.
company, from what I understand. We publish information. This information on our website, by the way. Under articles link, there's links running across the top of each page. If you click on the articles, you're going to see this particular case with the Kathleen Watterson case, where she got the punitive damages and she got the restraining order
on the company.
and hired a lawyer.
In the first place.
One more time?
What made her suspect this in the first place?
Well, typically it's physical and psychological damage. Where hers was more physiological. She noticed that for some strange reason, she was starting to experience lots of headaches and migraines and discomfort, insomnia, etc., etc. And she started to, she wander around the neighborhood, look around the house, whatever, try to see if there's anything going on, right? So as she was going around her own neighborhood, she found out that most of the satellite dishes, microwave dishes, whatever, weren't pointed at the sky like they were supposed to be. A number of them were pointed at her residence. So she actually, again, hired a lawyer, took a lot of video, photographic evidence, used our magnetic electric microwave detector, which reads the magnetic, electric, microwave, and RF frequencies and gives you a level, gives you an indicator, by way of a little needle that points whether or not you're being overexposed to those different technologies, those frequencies. And if so, is it detrimental to your health or not? And so since her readings were off the chart, she was able to make a case, with the help of a lawyer and all that. So now she's, quote unquote, the poster child for electronic harassment and what happens when you get an actual case and damages and blah, 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 blah. So, this started out as something that we kind of dismissed like anybody else probably will when you first hear about it. But then over the years, we kept getting more and more calls, right? Yeah. And I talked to more and more individuals in the industry who had different types of products. Extremely low frequency detectors, the microwave detectors, et cetera, and we started talking about, what's possible, what's not possible, and all that, right? And he says, we're like, yeah. He's like, yeah, definitely. You got to be careful because it's very easy to get overexposure intentionally or accidentally. There's a term called dirty electricity. When I mention the term dirty electricity, does anything come to mind as far as anything that anybody can think of? Or?
Well, I have a strange question. They've recently changed our gas meter.
To smart meters?
Yeah.
And they don't come out. Billy used to come out and knock real hard on my door once a month. And I'd mark it on the calendar what day, because they give you a little sheet.
Yeah.
And they put in this new one, and now I never see them. So where do they get that? It's got to be through a satellite somewhere to get my information.
You mean the data?
Yes.
Yeah, that could be a problem.
To habits too.
Well, see, this is a very good point. I was blogging about and doing a lot of research on smart meters and the technology. That technology is a very, very life-threatening technology. It's called microwave pulsed, PULSED, pulsed microwave technology. And basically what that means is, if I put the smart meter on this wall, and you're on the opposite side as a resident or the tenant of a building or structure, that microwave pulse technology is very effective when it comes to getting that signal or frequency from this point into your house or your residence. Now, just like sonar, it bounces off of everything inside of the structure, whether that's your DVR, your microwave, your hair dryer, whatever electronics are in there, it's bouncing those signals off of everything and it's getting a reading.
Or
Computers.
Yeah.
See, everything gives off signature, radiation. When I type on your keyboard, as he types on his keyboard, it's sending out electromagnetic signals and frequencies that could potentially tell anyone what keys he pressed on, because there's a correlation between what the keystrokes are and what should display on the screen, right? So theoretically, any spy, any nefarious individual can, again, take the signature from the microwave pulse smart meter, relay that back to the utility company and say, look, this individual was using the hair dryer at 10 o'clock at night. She was using this other device at 2 o'clock in the morning. And now we have a very good idea as a marketing company. Let's just say my only interest was marketing. I get that information from the utility company, right? Heaven forbid a utility company should sell data to a marketing outfit. But just imagine, right? So now they can say, okay, look, we got a very good idea when these people are using what appliances, and give them a good idea in terms of what the appliances are and when they were using it, blah, 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 right? So you talk about the ideal holy grail of marketing. Now I have a lot of information about right, who you are, what you're doing. So it's a very good point. Now, from a health perspective, there couldn't be anything worse because, believe it or not, nature uses a similar quote-unquote technology for mammals and animals and such. When accepts it as natural. So they couldn't have picked a worse technology to put onto the wall and send it to the house. Because now your body is interpreting this artificial technology and it's totally confused in terms of what to do with it. Now we're just trying to process it and use it, but since it's artificial, it's almost like taking something toxic. So we have a very, very significant problem now when it comes to that particular wireless technology. On top of the cell phones and the Wi-Fi's and the RFs and everything else. So yeah, we need to really consider, when we come up with these new wireless technologies, what are the detrimental health effects? And is it more important to put these technologies onto the market to make profits first, or do you research and try to figure out what is the overall effect and which is going to come first? Analyzing it from a health perspective or commercialization just of another gadget where we can... So,
I think one subject for our next meetup would be going off the grid. There are people who have gone off the grid. They leave everything behind their family. They're completely off the grid. And there are certain areas in the United States where those people go.
They call them quiet zones, I think.
You live off the land and you don't have any contact with anybody.
The bush people in Alaska.
Yeah. Now, before we get too far going in that direction,
this is a smaller unit.
This is do you have your cell phone? Mine is online, but I think she's gonna. So this is. So I came into your house and I'm trying to sell you some Amway or something, right? And you go to the restroom, just for a few minutes or something, and this little indicator light, it means that the unit is active and ready for phone calls. And I can put this in your home, or I can just put it on my person. And if we're supposed to have a confidential conversation about your new marketing program that you just invested $50 million into, now Carolyn's gonna call me, because we agreed we wouldn't have any cell phones or anything like this, right? And she's gonna listen in. Hell, can you hear me? 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. So basically what's happening now is she's totally, for the cost of this unit, she can find out everything about that new marketing program, that confidential conversation with you and your lawyer, whatever it was that we need to get, right? So just going back to this type of technology, be concerned, because it is real and it's accessible. Miniaturization of this technology has got to the point where it's accessible and the word is getting out over the internet like every.
Yeah.
Now, how do you prevent something like this? We talked about surveillance, we talked about eavesdropping, we talked about even electronic harassment and targeted individuals. If there's something going on and if I want to figure out what to do about it, what do you recommend?
Oh, it's called counter surveillance.
Okay, now counter surveillance implies typically what? What does that mean for people who don't know?
That if you're being bugged, you're going to find out where the bug is and remove it, or you take it to your police department, take a picture of it. There's different places like this to be put anywhere. So the bug detector we have will detect that.
Well, I have an off-the-wall question.
Sure.
What if I really need to place one of those in a residential home
Yeah.
for information to help a case?
Oh.
Well, you got to be careful. There's good and bad news. Okay? For you to listen in on this gentleman's conversation could be a very real legal issue. Okay? Now, the law's a little bit different if it's your private residence. If it's your place of business and you're posting a notice, because I'm an employee and you really want to monitor, am I talking to your customers correctly, right? Am I giving the necessary disclosures, et cetera, right? So for quote-unquote quality assurance related concerns, you have a right to know what's going on in your place of employment, right? And in your residence, you know, you have more leeway. But a lot of states do have the two-party consent laws. And if you're in one of those states where you have to give some indication of what's going on, you better understand that there are going to be legal consequences of getting it wrong. Now, in the real world, what happens is this, because PIs call us all the time, because someone's paying them a lot of money to get information, right? First, and then you decide what you're going to do afterwards. If you're cheating on your husband, and I find out, because I'm a PI, I find out that it's true, we may not have to go to court. Because after I show you the video, after I let you listen to the conversation, you're going to say, you know what?
I mean audio, not video.
Well, let's just take either one for now.
Okay.
If I gather that information and I call you to the deposition, right? And you're sitting there and I say, you know, we got something for you to listen to, right? We only give you 5 minutes of it first. You're going to say, you know what? That sounds like exactly what happened. And we don't need to go any further. What do you want from me?
Settle
Right?
out of court.
Right?
Well, you don't know me, and I really don't know you, but my circumstances is there's a gentleman who raped my daughter. Okay, she's 17 years old. Now, we had him incarcerated once because you know, the officer gave him his restraining order on a Sunday, and he came back Sunday evening and dropped off stuff. We have infrared cameras everywhere, except for the backyard. And so he was caught, and so they put him in jail. Well, he got out last Wednesday, and he's still contacting her through her email.
Was there somebody that she knew previous to the...
Oh yeah, she has a baby with him now. He's 7 months old. This is a straight A student. Gate girl. Got a plaque from the President of the United States for having 4.0.
Wow.
A good girl. She did not like my older son's friends because they smoked this synthetic marijuana.
Oh, okay.
And drank.
Right.
Which he was kind of stupid because he was the one that crawled through the crawl spaces and put all these cameras up. So, he raped her. He beat her up. He kidnapped her. I could go on. And he pleads not guilty when he's on camera. And they told me that that's normal that they do that. So I would like to hook up a device because what we need is for him to tell her, I'm sorry I raped you. I'm sorry I cold cocked you and your knee was like this and your arms. And she now weighs 91 pounds. She has a 7-month-old baby with him.
Why did she have the child?
The first thing she said, well, because he coerced her. He molested his baby sister from the age of 3 to probably 9 or 10.
Okay, now I understand the scenario.
What pissed him off, or her off, was they went to his mother's house to get the baby. The baby was being babysat by the mother, his mother, who is, she's been in prison, she's been in jail, she has 8 children and 7 different fathers, she only has custody of 1. She's a meth head, she has no teeth.
Okay, what would you like?
So,
Well, she asked the question.
she picked up his cell phone and he purchased a porn website, show daddy how much you love me. And so she got out of the car and started walking. And he called her name and she did nothing. She kept walking. So he came up alongside of her and cold cocked her, and that's how she fell. And this was at Saratoga. And Saratoga's apartment, the street, is just like this street. It's not smooth concrete.
Okay, all right.
So the detectives
Yeah.
are trying to build a case,
Sure.
but she needs him to. That
Yeah,
would benefit
right, you need a
her
confessional.
case. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
one of these devices planted underneath their
Right,
car or
right.
their house. They've recently moved. I have the address because the officers screwed up. Oh, Barry. Oh yeah, they're not on, Scandia. They're now on Barry. So I know exactly where they live, and I just want to do everything I can to put this creep
yeah.
away.
Well, maybe we can talk about it
Well,
after.
this is. Well, let's give her and the other people something to think
Okay.
about. Okay.
All right.
Now your situation. Really, see, a lot of these concerns, they fall within the same areas, 2 general buckets in terms of where, as far as our concern is, as a company who is going to help you gather information. Our obligation is to help you gather information. The caveat is,
Help the case.
yeah, the
Absolutely.
caveat is we're not lawyers, okay? But we just happen to know the law because after 20 years of doing this, we got a very good idea in terms of what you're ultimately going to be confronted with.
Okay,
But
so I'm not the only one who has.
no, everyone has a daughter who's going off with the guy who's in the Harley gang. Everyone has the wife who's coming around home at 2 o'clock in the morning. The husband who's supposedly a salesperson who's going on nationwide conventions and trade shows all the time. But, for some reason, he's not as affectionate when he does get home, et cetera, right? So we hear the stories, and they all strike us as very important and very serious, right? But our obligation, I shouldn't say but, our obligation is to, again, help you gather information. Now, we always tell the customers, we're going to get you some answers. You may not like what you hear, but we're going to help you get some answers. The good news is you're going to find out exactly what you need to know. Now, what you do with the information usually falls in this area or this area. When you let that individual know, like I mentioned before, if I'm this guy, your daughter's boyfriend or husband?
Well, he was her boyfriend for, as soon as she got pregnant, she was only with him for a couple of months.
Okay.
She was saving herself for
Just a boyfriend right now.
No.
Okay.
He's nothing right
Just,
now.
yeah, some individual. Okay, now this, yeah, that's,
She named the baby after
yeah.
him. She's now going through the process of changing his name.
okay, that's fine. Now this individual, you're going to get information from implicate himself, right? Now, what you're going to have to decide is, with the help of a lawyer, first of all, did you violate any laws pertaining to gathering the information if you were to go to a court of law? See, a lot of times, as I mentioned before, you don't have to.
Bring that to court and they can throw it right out.
Right. But if you don't take it to court, if I'm him and I find out that you have tons of information about me, and this could be detrimental to my probationary contract or something, whatever it is,
Yeah, he might
I'm going to say,
He's still on probation.
right. So I'm going to say, you know what?
Molestation of his
I don't need to have my probation officer or anybody else know about this, right? What do we have to do? So the quick answer is this: to go forward with it. Yeah, you have a right to, and you have the capability to get your hands on this technology to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. And then after you get it, then you think about it. Give yourself some time to think about, with the help of a lawyer again, where we're going to go.
Well, I contacted a lawyer, and they said, no, your daughter has the district attorney on her side. You guys are the victims. She has her advocate that's helping her from the Rape Crisis Center.
Well, as long as they go forward with a case, it's one thing for a lawyer to say, yeah, they're going to help you. They're going to do everything, right?
But I want to do it the right way. I want to know if I do need to hire an attorney, but they're all telling me you don't, that she has...
Well, if a district attorney takes over a case, give him the opportunity to use his tools, because we get calls from lawyers, and guess what? They want the bug. They want the tracker. They want the camera. They're going to do the same thing that you're doing here. If you wanted it, you get it from me directly or get it from us, right? The lawyer's going to call, and they're going to say, you know what, we got this particular client. We need, they're going to lay out the scenario.
I'd like to hear them talking. I'd like to hear his mother talking to him.
Yeah.
He's the only child that is in contact with her.
Well, right now, my advice is to let those guys exhaust all of their resources, because I've worked with city agencies, et cetera, who took over cases, and they really, a lot of them will actually get you the results that you want. But if they can't, then you use but you don't want to have too many things going on at once,
Well, her biggest fear is that he's going to get in the house, because he already snuck in one time.
Right.
He's already snuck in, and it was in her closet. And she's afraid he's going to get in, and he's going to kill her and take that baby and go.
Okay.
That's her biggest fear.
Well, yeah, you're in a precarious situation where you're concerned about the safety and security of her, and at the same time you want to be patient enough to allow them to do their jobs. But you want to convey that to them of the fact that you don't want to lose any more sleep, and you want to get this resolved. But we're going to move on from that, because that can we can spend a lot of time trying to figure out the ideal approach to that. But work with the people who are trying to work with you on that level, because they have a lot of resources and they can help you. Now, this particular unit, you guys are on Facebook and everywhere else. What is this, Carolyn?
We call it the ProDetect 2, and it's one of our counter surveillance products.
Now, so you guys can see when I gotta hold on to it, because that's okay. Now, this is off. Let me turn it on. I guess make it a little bit more impressive. But if you had a listening device in your house, or you had a tracker.
Listening to you right now?
No, it's not. It doesn't listen. It detects.
It detects if you have a listening device in your house, or a bug, or a tracker on your car, Wi-Fi.
Now, those little bars that are going up and down, I think there's one on the right-hand side. Okay, it's barely going up and down. I can't see what you're seeing, but is this thing still on? Did I turn it off, or
I don't know.
the light's not on? Maybe the battery died on it. Let me see. Oh, wait. Okay, I think it's blinking. It's kind of hard to duplicate it. But let me see. You have to call into it. But typically what happens is, this is like a metal detector, okay? The closer you get to the coins, to the gold, or whatever it is that's on the beach, in the park, or something like that, the more the metal detector is going to vibrate, sound off, or do something, right? And this is no different. As you get close to that tracker on your vehicle, as you get close to the bug that we put under your table in your house, as you get close to the wireless camera that I've installed in the ladies' gym room locker or something, this unit is going to light up like crazy. And depending upon what mode you put it in, you can put it in audio, where it actually makes a sound.
Vibration mode.
You can barely hear that sound. And if you feel it, if you touch that, you feel that. Now, if you can give me some made-up name, whatever. Give me a made-up name. Bruce? Now, if Bruce and I were supposedly having a confidential conversation, I said, Bruce, you can't bring any cell phones or anything like that, because we're talking about something very important, political, diplomatic, whatever it is, discussion, right? Bruce says, yeah, sure. And then, but he's lying, right? He changes his mind or something happens, right? Because I can feel that. Now, as long as I have this in here, right? And Bruce has his cell phone on or his bug or something, right? This thing is going to start vibrating. And I'm going to say, wait a minute, I can't talk to you right now, Bruce. I got something that I got to do, right? So
I have a great use for that. Have a family dinner and tell everybody that can't bring their cell phones because they actually want to have a conversation.
yeah, yeah, right. Exactly. Believe it or not, we have clients who it's not so much a family situation, but this is a highly secure area, and they have to know that when you come in that door, every cell phone is off or left outside, and they buy these cell phone detectors from us that actually are placed on a wall or in a ceiling or somewhere, right? And then when you walk into that facility with that cell phone on, this thing is going to start sending out alerts and beeps and everything else to certain individuals, right? And somebody's going to come up to you and say, I think you better go back outside or something, But yeah, there's a number of reasons why our customers want to know who has a cell phone. If you have a cell phone, where are you in relation to different places in the building or something like that, right? So yeah, as Carolyn pointed out, this is part of counter surveillance. This is a multi-billion dollar industry. Bugs are real, trackers are real, hidden cell phones are real, wireless cameras hidden in places where they're not supposed to be are very real. Where do we put where do we put certain cameras and stuff like that? Just to give people an idea when we hide cameras and stuff.
Oh, okay. Our nanny cameras, we put them in like a 6-plug wall outlet, iPod docking station, alarm clock, AC adapter. You plug into the wall. We can do custom jobs too if someone wants us to put a camera in something.
To a monitor or something like that? Or?
Yeah, like a nanny camera. They want to monitor who's coming out of the house. Say if their spouse is cheating.
My problem is, how do you get into this kid's house?
Who's stealing something from you? Or if you're gone, you want to see what dog is being the
urinating
problem.
On the floor.
Yeah.
We got a lot of,
Pillows.
yeah.
I mean,
The pet owners are totally thrown off because they introduced a new dog to the other dogs, and now all of a sudden everybody's misbehaving. So, what do we do? Who's the culprit? But yeah, when you come home and this new AC adapter charger is sitting in the wall.
let's see, where's it?
Or let them have it. You can pass this around. Your office or something, and then that way.
Go into one of his card then, or?
Yes, exactly.
An AC, yeah.
Yeah, this particular unit will record. I think the 64. It can record probably like a couple of weeks of audio and video onto this teeny tiny SD card, and you'll take when you come home from Italy, you'll take this SD card out, put it into your computer into the SD card slot.
And you can play it.
Time and date stamped, high resolution audio and video. Okay?
I gotta make my reservations today.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So you won't have to worry about what the babysitter was doing, what the husband was doing, et cetera, et cetera.
House sitter,
employees.
nanny.
That won't be a question. And we've also upgraded this technology so that you can actually log in, like everyone now likes to log in on their computers
Wi-Fi.
and see. I want to see what's going on.
Internet protocol.
When we work with our government agency customers, law enforcement agency customers, they can't afford to have the people, their lives put in jeopardy by something going wrong during a sting operation. So once Bruce or whoever says the key word, now everyone can rush in because it sounds like his life is in danger, right? So yeah, at some point, a lot of times they have to hear, they have to see what's going on so they can respond just in case. If your cover's blown, right, we don't want a problem. So This is just an example of the video-related technology, but as she mentioned, we can put it in the emergency light or the picture. Very easy to put it in the picture frame.
Digital picture frame also.
Yeah, we've had customers who've asked us, you know, whatever, can you put it in this or that or the other? Our typical reply is, just tell us where to buy it. Where do we get the picture frame? Where do we get the...
they can send it to us.
Right, send it to us. We'll take a look at it, right? And we only need a teeny tiny bit of room, usually, to put the cameras or the microphones or something inside of it. So, that's where we are, guys, with spy technology, surveillance, counter-surveillance,
electronic harassment,
targeted individuals. Anybody has any additional questions or concerns? You've been a very, very good,
yeah, it's been an hour already.
Inquisitive audience.
Any questions?
We live in a condo association. I'm on the board. We've been having a lot of trouble with it. It's got graffiti, and you know, kids staying in the pool area past the hours and stuff like that. I mean, can you get and we have a camera system, but we don't have any cameras up front with the graffiti's going on. Can you get a wireless camera and stuff that can hook up to the current camera system that we have?
Well, usually it's a matter of compatibility. Okay. Not all the time. And do you buy other cameras from other vendors to mate them up with existing systems? Usually it's better to go back to the original vendor and you ask them, we want to cover additional space. We're not getting enough coverage. Give us some sort of camera that's going to pair up with our existing cameras.
Do you guys do that kind of thing as far as the surveillance is concerned? Or?
Yeah. I mean...
We don't do installations.
We don't do installations. Our typical question for you, we would just ask you, okay, well, first of all, our system more likely would be separate.
Would be what?
Would be separate.
Okay.
If you want to know what's going on in the lobby...
In the front of the clubhouse.
In the front, we would just give you an independent system.
Okay.
It would look like a smoke detector, like a lamp or something that would exit sign or something, right? We would just try to match in or get something that's going to fit in with the environment, and it would be more likely it would be independent, but you would nonetheless get everything that you need as far as finding out what's going on in that area.
Okay.
Yeah.
You guys have business cards?
Yes.
Yeah. So now you guys are experts, and I want you to go back into the real world, okay? And I want you to tell them, look, what you saw on National, what is it, State, what was that movie called with Will Smith? Nations, what was it? He did a movie about spying and all of that. And Hollywood dramatized it a little bit, right? But exactly. But now you guys can tell them, look, okay, we're ready. But we know exactly.